We rarely hear in the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here. WYSL, Rochester, New York. Yes, it is 585-346-3000 is the number you can call if you want to chat with me after the break. Today is election day. And it reminded me today of last year when I was unable to get in the ballot running for governor. It also reminded me of when I was a kid. I have to go now and vote. I haven't voted yet, but I'm going to go and go do so. And I said, Larry, well, why are you going to go vote? It's an off year. Nothing's going to change. Well, I remember when I was a kid living in the Bronx. My mom couldn't vote. She wasn't a citizen, so she didn't vote. My dad did here or there, but not that much. Remember the first time going into the booth back then? There was a booth back then. There was a blue curtain that you'd go into, and I went with him, and you'd move this little lever and open and close it. Not here where I am in New York at all anymore, but that's how it was when I was younger. And then when I joined the Marine Corps, I thought, well, I'm 18. I have to vote now. I joined when I was 17. So I had to register when I was in the Marine Corps. And for those of you who are in the military overseas, you don't register with your state. You register through a fleet post office box someplace else. For me, I registered out of San Francisco. Was how I registered out of a fleet post office box out of San Francisco. But I assumed I voted for everyone in New York. That's what I thought I did. I wasn't sure if I did or not. I only voted every 4 years when I was overseas because I thought, I don't know what's going on locally, but I voted because I thought it mattered. As I got older, I came back to New York after being in the Marine Corps, and I went to register, and I found out I wasn't registered in New York State. I didn't know that. I assumed, as I did my registration to the military, that it would somehow be registered here in New York State. It wasn't. So I don't even know if any of my votes were actually counted. I'm assuming they were. I'm assuming the system works. I don't know if it does. They say that, they take all the veteran overseas votes later on. I hope mine was counted. But I do think about that. Did it actually matter? Did they count my votes back then? Maybe. Who knows? So then again, I decided I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to register. And I did. I registered in New York State. At that point, I was registering on Long Island at the time so that I could actually vote again. And I started doing that. Then it became very disenchanted with voting. I started thinking that no matter what I do, things keep getting worse. No matter who I got behind, things were getting worse. So then in 2012, after I'd kind of given up and thought, why bother voting anymore? Who cares? I was actually considering not voting ever again. That's true. Someone like me who talks politics today all the time, just 11 years ago, 12 years ago, was thinking, does any of it matter? I mean, it doesn't matter. And when I hear people tell me that and say they don't care, I get it. It's frustrating for me because I keep asking people to go vote. But 12 years ago, I was there. So I get why people say, why bother? I do. The problem is, what else is there? Surrender? Possible. Violence? Please no. That's a bad idea. Please no. So what else do we got? Right? What else do we have? Now, the worst part about this is right now, this is a two-party system. A left-right paradigm is all there is right now. And with gerrymandering, even if you go vote, at least 3 out of 4 of the times you're going to go vote, your vote doesn't count. At least, if not more, but at least 3 out of 4. It doesn't count. Because the system is set up to where they know who's going to win way before you bother voting. It doesn't really matter. They count the votes, assuming they count them, just because, you'll maybe feel like something was fair. So I do feel that frustration. But that's one of the reasons in 2012 that I decided to become a libertarian. There were many reasons, but that was one of them. Why? Because the left-right paradigm, the current voting system, the gerrymandering, all that stuff ensures nothing really changes. Things just keep moving slowly towards worse. Depending upon who happens to get elected here or there, it moves a little slower towards worse, or faster towards worse. But it still keeps moving towards worse. So I thought, okay, I'm going to join the Libertarian Party. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to get out there and make things happen. And people are all going to see it. And they're going to get behind me. And I'm going to win. Well, as everyone listening now knows, that did not go as planned. But that was what I wanted to do. But after I lost the first time, I thought to myself, okay, even though I didn't win, I was making a difference because people were starting to get involved. People were getting elected. And then the system came back and shut that down here in New York State, where now there's basically only just two parties. That's it. And in New York State, if it's a statewide election, it's always a Democrat who wins. Been the same thing for the past 22 years, doesn't matter. And if it's local, it's gerrymandered to where you almost always know who's going to win anyway. So why bother? Locally, as I've told many of you, where I live here in Queens, at the assembly level, the Republicans have not run a candidate in 10 years. They don't bother running candidates anymore. It's so blue, they don't bother running candidates. It's a waste of time and money. They don't even do it. Now, luckily, some people in the city council are still running. The Republicans are running something against Democrats, but the odds are they're going to lose. I mean, the odds are insanely high they're going to lose. So why bother? Everything I'm saying right now is saying, why bother? Right, Larry? You're going to sit here and tell me to vote, and you're going to vote today, but everything you've just said is why bother? You fail either way. Who cares? Here's why. There are several things happening in this country right now that make me feel like there's hope. But Larry, you're an optimist. Guilty as charged. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Being an optimist does not mean you're wrong. Just means you're an optimist. Why do I say that? Right now, we still have people running across New York State as independents and or even libertarians. Yates County, 3 people running as libertarians in Yates County today. Right? Still. But not just that. RFK Jr. is running. Right? Cornel West is running. Right? Forward Party exists. The No Labels Party exists. This tells me that there is a trend that people are trying to break this two-party system. They are trying it. Is it working? I think it is. So what can you do? Why would I be here preaching to you, hey, go vote, Larry, go vote, whatever. Why would I be doing that when I just told you how terrible it is? Because to be forward with you, they don't care at all whether more Republicans, Democrats really vote. Not a big deal. What they're going to be watching is the independent votes, the write-in votes, the independent votes. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. Why? They already know about how many Democrats, Republicans are in a given county, in a given district, in a given state. They know. And if it lands in that area, whatever they say is their plus or minus, it's fine. Status quo, change nothing. Keep moving towards worse. Don't do it. Don't change anything at all. At all. But what if all of a sudden the independent vote, the libertarian vote, the write-in vote is all of a sudden not 1% or 10 or 20 or 30%. That is uncontrollable. They don't like that. They can control Democrats, Republicans all day long. That's easy. Been doing it for decades. They got that down. It's a whole lot harder to control that write-in. It's a whole lot harder to control that independent, that libertarian. Again, 3 running in Yates County and across the state. So I'm going to ask you to go vote today. And if locally you're in New York State and there's some Democrat that you like or some Republican that you like that you think is valuable, awesome, vote for that person. It's great. But if you're not sure who these people are, who he or she is, or whatever the case may be, vote independent, whoever that person is. Vote libertarian. That's my choice, obviously. Vote libertarian. Or write somebody in. I'm not joking. Write somebody in. You might say to yourself, wait a minute, Larry, if we write people in, then that's not going to change the vote total really much. You're right, it's not going to anyway. You know who's going to win already. But now the people at the BUE go, oh my God, did you know? Out of 1,000 votes, we had 100 write-ins? 100 write-ins, really? Yeah. What the hell's going on here? We got to go tell our people, because the people at BOE are just party hacks anyway. The Board of Elections. They're just party hacks anyway. So they go right back to the party and go, we got a problem. We got these people. We can't control them. They're voting libertarian. They're writing in things. Oh my God. So it's important, if you want to make change, you must actually change. Well, Larry, I'm a Republican. Or Larry, I'm a Democrat. Good. If you happen to have a Republican or Democrat that you think is great and needs your vote, I'm not against you doing that. Do that. But you know, everybody watching, everybody listening knows, I know that most of the votes you're going to do are already pre-planned. They already know who's going to win. They've already gerrymandered districts. Your vote's not going to matter. So make it matter. Make it matter. Voting the same old way is going to get you the same old thing, and you're not happy. If you were happy, you wouldn't be listening to this show. So that's how I know you're not happy. You're not happy, so change how you vote. Today's the day. Don't fall back. You're going to go there, see the sheet of paper, go, I'm a Republican, and keep voting Republican. I'm a Democrat, keep voting Democrat. Don't do that. It is your choice to not do that. Do something different. Vote independent. Vote libertarian. Write somebody in. Write yourself in. Write me in. I don't care. Write anybody you want in. Do something different to let them know, man, we got to change. Am I crazy? Tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 833-463-3000 is the number to reach out to me. Before the break, I was talking about voting and how it is critical that right now we have to take a few moments to think, does it matter? And here's the issue. Some people think, why bother, and walk away, but then it affects them anyway. Voting is going to affect you one way or another. I think the answer is to do something, to step in and touch that in some way, shape, or form. At a minimum, you'll feel better, right? At a minimum, at least like, yeah, I wrote in Larry Sharpe. That'll teach him. At least that's something, right? So there's something you can do that might make it a little bit better. So yes. From the chat, Philip. Oh yes, Philip Rahr, R-A-H-R. Thanks for the shout out, Larry Sharpe. We're feeling good in Yates County. Yes, he's one of the people running. Jeff Bradley's another. Yes. So yes, so there's a couple people running, 3 running total. So if you are in Yates County, please take your time. I'm pretty sure they're running for county offices. So please check those out. It does matter. Whatever you can do, please check it out. So yes, you grab a couple of these. Michael Voss is watching. How are you, sir? He says, hey, Larry, made it. And to answer the question, voter apathy is dangerous to freedom and accelerates governmental political corruption like cancer. I cannot agree more. You are correct. The sad part is something else can also do it. Voter apathy, as in a voter doesn't vote, option 1. Option 2, a voter votes without thinking. Both of those are bad, right? I just give up, I stop showing up. Or 2, I just vote my party no matter what. And I see people doing that. Both of those, right? I'll give you a little bit of data. This is for New York State, but I'm sure many states have a similar issue if you're listening from some other state. Most people in New York State who live upstate, not New York City, will say, it doesn't matter. New York City has all the votes. I hear that constantly. Well, that's true and not true. It's true because too many people upstate don't vote. In reality, something to remember for those of you upstate New York, 1/3 of New York City residents aren't born in the country. Another third aren't born in the city. Most people in New York City can't vote, which means you never get more than about 2 million votes out of New York City. There's about 18 million New Yorkers, give or take, about 10 million eligible to vote. Sorry, it's 12 million eligible to vote, about 10 million registered to vote, give or take. That's only 20% of the voters. The problem is there's parts of upstate New York. Well, if you're not voting, of course New York City outvotes you. You're not voting because you believe that story that's been literally planted by people in the cities so that you won't vote, and then you don't vote. And then it's right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I would add to what you said, Mike. Voter apathy, I would clarify. Voter apathy both in not voting, which is terrible, and in just voting blindly. And I see it all the time. And we vote blindly too often, not because we love a party, like we just love Democrats, love Republicans. That's not why. We vote blindly because we fear the other, or we hate the other. Either one, they're overlapping. So I hate the Democrats, so I vote Republican, or I hate Republicans, so I vote Democrat, whatever. So my guys, whatever my team is, it's still a terrible team, but at least it's not them. Both of these are bad. I completely agree. So thank you for that, Mike. Joe says, but Larry, I heard the 2024 election is the most important election of our lifetime. That story is told every time. And if you hear it, particularly when Trump is involved, because if you're around Democrats at all, or if you are a Democrat yourself, you know this. Democrats really hate Trump. And they fear Trump. If you listen to Democratic rhetoric, what will you get? If Trump is elected, literally it ends democracy. I'm not sure how that works, but that's the rhetoric. He was president already, wasn't he? We still have democracy? Well, let's just say we have the same bad democracy we had before him, we still have after him. How about that? I'll say that. But that's the rhetoric. To your point, Joe, this has to be always the most important election of our lifetime. Because if it isn't, well, then you might actually vote for somebody you want, not out of fear. The goal with this rhetoric is for you to always vote out of fear, not out of what you want. And now a victory, a win, is not my side won. A win is the other side lost. See, they lost, so we won. Okay, is your life any better? No, but they lost. But your life isn't any better. No, my life is still terrible and getting worse. Well, then how did you win? But you're right, that's how that works. And not just that, now they can blame you. And if you so, they do. Oh, you did third party. That's why Trump won. Or that's why Trump lost. Whatever side you're on. No. You should vote for who you want to vote and teach them to offer you something and then to actually deliver with what you want them to deliver. That's the piece. You do that, we have a better situation. Flying Rich says, please come on the John Crump live show Wednesday or Thursday at 5 p.m. I appreciate the invite. I don't think I'll be able to make this one this week. So reach out to me and we'll find a time to make it, or maybe a different day or a different time. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you for the invite. I do appreciate that. Yes. Austin says, this election day would matter more if LP Kentucky didn't lose ballot access, thanks to a last-minute law that was passed by the supermajority of Republicans in the Kentucky General Assembly last year. This happens all the time, guys. And there is something that, I've mentioned this before, but I'll bring it up again. I think the lawsuits now against Trump, they're trying to push him off the ballot. Some of you who are paying attention may know this. I think it's in Colorado and like 3 or 4 other states. They're saying Trump can't be on the ballot because of the 14th Amendment, because he was part of an insurrection, all of that. That's their side. Trump's side is, you can't do this. Regardless, he was president of the United States. He's winning in the polls. This is an attack on democracy. How can you? It's clearly an attack on democracy, obviously. Now, I'm a libertarian, not a Republican, but I hope Trump wins. Not the election. I don't care about that, to tell you the truth. I care about him being on a ballot, because people who want to vote for him should be able to vote for him, regardless of whether you like him or not, Austin. I don't know your personal, politics, but if you want to vote for Trump, you should be able to. So he should get in the ballot. 100% I hope he wins that. But it's also a personal issue. If he wins that, that's the argument for libertarians too, and Forward Party, and Green Party, and independents. If someone can prove that people want to vote for that person, they should be on the ballot. I agree. So this will go away. Now, the problem is, your point, the Republicans did it. In New York State, the Democrats did it. They both don't want us on. It doesn't matter. So if you're listening now and you're a Republican and think your guys are better, they're not. You're a Democrat, my guys are better, they're not. Now, to be clear, I don't mean Democrats or Republicans voters. The voters actually want more democracy. Ask them, they always, if you're listening and you're a regular voter, you want more democracy. The leadership, they want less. Republican leadership, Democratic leadership, those people want less and less democracy. The Democrats passed the laws that threw me off the ballot, and the Republicans sued me to make sure I was off the ballot. They double teamed me. So yeah, I am with you completely. And now Joe is busting my stones. Wait, your mom's not a citizen? Anchor baby to Port Larry. That's funny. My mom did come to America, married to a serviceman. She met him overseas. He was at a base overseas, met her and brought her here. And so she did come here legally. I don't know if that matters to some of you. That matters to some of you. Doesn't. Either way. So, yeah. And by the way, I'm also adopted. I want you to know that. So I wasn't even her baby. She adopted me. So I'm not even an anchor baby in that regard. My birth parents were both Americans. So am I an anchor baby? Maybe I should be deported anyway. Where are you going to send me? I don't know, Joe. I like you busting my stones. It's kind of funny though, either way. So yes. Let's see here. I grab a couple more of these. Okay. Mike comes on to say, even without a political party or specific candidate, enough votes can cause changes in the law that masses want. The activity and awareness is critical as corruption flourishes in darkness and apathy. That's my point, right? So even if your person doesn't win, a large enough showing will cause impact. Michael is correct here. Please, yes, the most important thing is impact. You don't do that by doing the exact same thing every single time. That's the issue. Is Michael right? I say he is. You think he's wrong? Call him and tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and more of your chat. I see you guys. I will take you back after the break.
Temperatures may be falling, but the deals are as hot as July at Victor Chevrolet, the new leader for Chevy in Rochester, Canandaigua, and Fairport.
Check out these great lease specials.
Go anywhere, on road or off, in your new Chevy Silverado 1500 LT Crew Cab. Just $379 a month for 27 months.
Tier 1 credit approval required. Must have current lease and household.
The 2023 Chevy Equinox LT all-wheel drive. Only $199 a month for 27 months.
Must have Tier 1 credit approval and current lease and household.
Or a 23 Chevy Trailblazer LT all-wheel drive. Just $199 a month for 27 months.
Tier 1 credit approval and current lease and household required.
Mileage allowance on all deals. $10,000 per year. $2,500 cash or trade equity.
Got Keith from Rochester.
Required at closing. Get more details at dealer. And don't forget, Victor Chevrolet also has an unbeatable pre-owned selection. Whatever brand vehicle you're driving, you can trust it to our Chevy certified service department. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor.
Just in time for the winter heating season, RG&E and NYSEG got their rate increases. Even if you have an updated high-efficiency furnace, you'll be paying more to stay comfortable. What can you do? Well, you can save with economical, state-of-the-art, quiet, efficient Air & More infrared zone heaters, just like we do here at WYSL. Air & More zone heaters let you turn down your central heat and stay cozy in the room you're using. Heat from Air & More infrared is healthier. No combustion to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin, so your family gets even quiet heat that fills rooms with warmth, not dust and blower noise, oxygen-rich and moist. Air & More heaters have no exposed hot surfaces and no heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. They're completely safe around pets and children and have easy roll casters to make relocation a snap. With new copper PTC technology, there are no bulbs to replace ever. Save even more when you mention the promo code WYSL. Buy direct and get lowest prices anywhere on the web. Call 800-707-8725 or visit more.com. more.com.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
In the Rochester and Finger Lakes region, one name stands above all others for real estate appraisal and advice.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
This full-service real estate appraisal company can appraise and advise on purchase and sales decisions, mortgage finance feasibility, estate, matrimonial, partnership buyouts, litigation, and more for any type of property, both residential and commercial. Ryan Murphy was founded almost 40 years ago. All of our highly trained staff members have at least 20 years of experience. All our appraisers are either New York State certified general or residential real estate appraisers.
Ryan Murphy and Associates.
Start here. RYNNEMurphy.com.
I'm Stephen Nichols. Since 1984, Nichols has been a family-operated and trusted name for home service, where we provide plumbing and electrical installation and service. Nichols service technicians are background checked, and we build our company on world-class communication. Serving Monroe County and the surrounding areas, call 585-427-9310. That's 888-427-9310 or visit nicholsep.com. We would love to serve you in your home.
Judge Dandria Ruhlman is the only candidate with years of judicial experience in family court.
For the last 20 years, I've had the honor of serving our community's families, presiding over 24,000 cases, everything from the joy of adoptions to the most egregious child abuse. My judicial experience has taught me to treat even the toughest cases with fairness and compassion.
Highly qualified, highly sensitive, years of judicial experience. Re-elect Judge Dandria Ruhlman. Paid for by Re-elect Judge Ruhlman for family court.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio. WYSL Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000 is the number to reach out to me if you like. And I want to grab a bunch of your chat. I will. A lot of you are chatting, and I appreciate that online, but I also want to grab a call if I could. Let me grab Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
I have two comments and two questions. First comment, you mentioned the voting in New York City in last November's election. Because of Lee Zeldin's strength, it was his coattail effect that allowed Republican congressmen to win and win in places that they weren't supposed to. So the person who is most responsible and even to be applauded for the Republican takeover of the House is Zeldin himself. Secondly, you mentioned when people don't get involved, corruption sets in. Politely, I think you might have that in reverse order. There are a number of people who are always involved, but then when it's brought home to them just how corrupt our country is at many and all levels, that's when people start feeling beaten down and they give up. We really have to acknowledge that people like it when things are going their way, and unfortunately, because of human nature, people do tend to give up easy. So there's a lot of corruption out there, and I just see, unfortunately, many good people pulling back because they feel, what's the use? My two questions. You mentioned that voting officials know the number of Democrats and Republicans voting. My question is, does that hurt or help the work of New York Audit insofar as how New York Audit is able to look at the figures? And then that brings me to my second question. If, in fact, independents of all kinds are going to be voting more percentage-wise in the future, because, as you mentioned, corrupt voting officials who are often nothing more than party hacks, and the party officials cannot control the independent voter as much, would that there again help New York Audit insofar as getting the honest figures before the public and independents demanding that the corrupt party officials clean up their act and start getting really clean elections held?
So let me cover all of those. The first piece you brought up with Lee Zeldin, I disagree completely with that. And why do I disagree with that? What actually happened in New York State was redistricting. The Democrats were so corrupt in their redistricting plan for New York State. For those who don't know who aren't in New York State lost so much population that we actually lost the congressional seat. So we had to redraw all of our districts. The Democrats were in charge and said, hey, we're going to draw them, that they would literally write out 5 Republicans would be just drawn out through gerrymandering. And gerrymandering in general is legal, and people tend to say, okay. But the Democrats were so greedy into writing out 5 Republicans out that a judge actually said, no, this is just too much. My God, this is insane. So more than one judge said, this is bad. And then they grabbed the commission. The commission was pro-Republican, and it rewrote the districts to have Republicans be in it. If you remember, Keith, there were 2 or 3 top Democrats that were now districted to fight each other. So heavy hitter Democrats lost seats because of redistricting. Lee Zeldin was a crappy candidate who just yelled and screamed and had no plans and knew he was going to lose. He was not a good candidate. If he was a good candidate, he would have beat Kathy Hochul. Hochul's a terrible governor. Everyone knows Democrats don't like Hochul. The Republicans did well across this state because of redistricting, not because of Lee Zeldin. The corruption piece, I think you have a valid point there. I think when people see things going poorly, they tend to walk away. I think that's true. But I do think in the long run, if we keep going, we can draw people back because of hope. And this goes into New York Audit. And I've been to their events. I love New York Audit. I think they are providing the hope that I just talked about. If people have hope, they will come back, right? That will get them to come back when they start walking away, to your point. And I think New York Audit does that, which is why I support them. I'm happy they're doing what they're doing. And it's volunteers. I talk about them. They do advertisements on the show. Big fan. I don't know if I said enough. I'll say it again. Big fan. Glad what they're doing. They should keep doing it. So now independence. Yes, because two things will happen. Even though the BOE party hacks, that you call them, which is I come to, it's correct. They may not want to count those votes, whatever. They will still see it's happening. And they're like, oh my God, how do we cover this up now? Am I saying they would cover it up? Yes, I am. They can sue me if they want to. I think that's not beyond them. But they'll be scared. But a second thing happens. Now we get more observers. And the answer, Keith, to having fair elections is more observers, more people there who aren't party hacks, independent people who are there, libertarians, Greens, I don't care, independent people who just don't trust the system. These are our friends. More people there. So to answer your question, I think yes to both, but maybe not initially. We might need to see a couple of election cycles before it actually makes sense. Did I cover all your issues?
Yes, sir. Very good. Two fast points closing on Zeldin. He did win 49 out of the 62 counties. Hochul won the 13 that were the most populous. And I'm going to disappoint fellow conservatives and Republicans. My final question, if you know, did Mr. Zeldin make out like a bandit? I think I kind of agree with you that he kind of knew he was going to lose. Pray tell, after the election, what's he been doing, and has he been reaping profits that the rest of us would look askance at?
100%. I warned everybody of this. I told everybody the reason why, and this is going to make Republicans listening mad, but I don't care. I warned you all, and you still voted for him. Lee Zeldin only ran for governor because he was afraid with redistricting, he would lose his congressional seat on Long Island. He was worried about that. He thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose my seat. He's a crappy lawyer and a crappy person and didn't want a real job. And he thought, what do I do now? I know. I'll get Nick Langworthy to make me run for governor. That'll work. Nick is a grifter also. So they decided together to grift together, and they did. I told everybody that's why he was running. No one listened to me. I told everybody that within 6 months of this election being over, he will be running a PAC. What is he doing now, Keith? He's running a PAC. What do? He raised about $11 or $13 million, I forgot what the number was, when he ran for office, spent like $7 million of it, knowing he was going to lose, put $5 or $6 million into a PAC, which is all money that he got from Republicans here in New York State, took that money, put in a PAC. Now he's ahead of the PAC, and the PAC now pays him a salary. So yes, he is grifting. Exactly what I said. Nick Langworthy promised us he was going to, take the state back. That's what he said. Then he saw an opportunity once redistricting happened to become a congressman. He stabbed Carl Palladino in the back directly, took his seat, and now Nick Langworthy is a congressman. So the Republican leadership in this state is insanely corrupt, horribly bad, embarrassing, all grifters. Don't get me wrong. Democrats are worse. I'm just saying Republicans aren't any better. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I was fearful of that word. I've heard that term grifter in regards to Mr. Zeldin, unfortunate. Yep. But you yourself are very good. You're an honorable man from everything that I've heard, and thank you very much for answering, and you take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir. So, yes, I know that probably makes some of you Republicans who are voters upset. I get it. I don't mean to upset you. It isn't my goal. That's the system here, right? And to be forward, it's not because they're Republicans. I'm sure if you go to Oklahoma, where Republicans are everything, Democrats do the same thing. I'm sure it's just people in power wanting to grift. The R or D by their name doesn't actually matter. I don't think it does. So if you're a Republican voter, this is not you. This is the leadership of the state. They know they're going to lose. They don't care anymore. And they're going to keep lying. So, by the way, in 2024, 2026, they're going to lie to you again and tell you that New York State can go red. It cannot. It will go blue, or it will go gold, or it will go something else. Red is not possible for New York State for at least a generation. Just isn't. It's 3-1 Democrat Republican now. Those days have left us. The days of Pataki are over. We're not going to see that for at least a generation, if not more. So I would like us to have a much better state that had some actual competition. I think it'd be better for everybody. So Russell's telling jokes. He says, if your dad was a sailor, then you're an anchor baby. Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you something funny. My birth father was. He was actually in the Navy, stationed here in New York City. And so, yes, so I guess maybe I am. But my adopted father, and that is his flag there, he passed. For those of you who are watching online, I have his flag here. He was a veteran. He was in the Army. So Army and Navy, and I was a Marine. We're getting them all. We're getting them all covered here. Absolutely. So, yes. I hope that answers your question at least. So Austin says, good news though, Larry, is that ever since 2020, third parties in general have been increasing tremendously, while the two main parties are losing members. I see it here in Kentucky. I agree with that. And that is my point of hope, right? That is my point of hope. I think this is a time showing people want change. And here's the point. It doesn't mean Democrats, Republicans need to go away, right? I don't care either way if they do or not. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what the names of the parties are, but it doesn't mean that. But here's the problem. If you're a Democrat here in New York, who holds you accountable? Nobody. You run roughshod across the state, pass any law, any rule you want. No one stops you. Literally unconstitutional stuff. No one stops you. You have a couple of third parties, you can be held accountable. You will have better Democrats in New York State if we have more third parties. Otherwise, you have terrible Democrats. And if I'm going to have a Democrat, I want a better one at least. Something. There has to be some control, and there kind of isn't, right? If you have a better conservative party or constitutional party, you can control Republicans. Everyone should be held accountable, and other parties can do that, and I think we're ready for that. So even if other parties don't become popular with it, they're in control, they will still be able to moderate those who are in control. It's a win either way. All right, let me know if I'm right. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and more of your chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
The colors are red for valor, white for innocence, and blue for justice. Our nation's flag proclaims liberty for all, and our military service members continue to fight for the right to live in freedom. Honor their service and sacrifice with an American-made flag from the Stars and Stripes Flag Store. Visit eflagstore.com to shop now. All proceeds support Veterans Outreach Center and local veterans.
In 1926, the Avon Fire Department put an Aaron's Fox pumper into service. It now sits fully restored in a museum near Toronto. Avon has an opportunity to bring the Fox home for its 100th birthday for a fraction of its appraised value.
Okay, we have Roger from Nassau.
Preservation Society needs you.
You're welcome.
Look us up on Facebook or call 615-6463. Let's bring home the Fox.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe here, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Sharpe Way Radio. So happy that you give me a small chunk of your afternoon. We've been talking about voting. It's election day today, holding people accountable, making impact. I see people in the chat going back and forth. I appreciate it. But I want to grab another call if I could. I'm going to grab Roger from Nassau. How are you, Roger?
Larry, what's up? Can you hear me?
What's going on?
All right,
Yep.
I got a script. I got 5 points. I'm going to try to run through it real quick.
Go.
This is my weekly public service announcement to all New Yorkers. To all my fellow New Yorkers, whether you are independent, apolitical, socialist, liberal, progressive, conservative, libertarian, or you just hate politics in general. Listen up right now. Go to uniteny.org, click Issues Advocacy, scroll down and hit Initiatives and Referendums. Like I said last week, they are promoting Senator Pamela Helming's and Assemblyman Joshua Jensen's amendment to the New York State Constitution to make it a citizen ballot initiative state, allowing us to place our own amendments, laws, referendums on the ballot so we can approve, repeal, and ratify into the New York State Constitution using the citizen ballot initiative process. The language for the amendment is it provides for initiative and referendum in New York State for the people as electeds to propose or reject laws and submit amendments to the state constitution. Their Twitter is at @unite_NY. The bill numbers are the bill numbers are S2290 and A2933. Please call your state senator, not U.S. Senator Gillibrand and Chuck, but state senator representing you in Albany, and assemblymen, and ask them to become sponsors of this amendment to push it through. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment. Representative democracy has proven to be an abject failure. Time to step it up and go to full direct democracy and extend lawmaking, repealing, and amendment powers to the people. The politicians won't save us. We will save us. Citizen ballot initiatives will save us. Number 2.
I like
Larry, I voted for the legislative initiatives to ratify these amendments the legislature put before us to the New York State Constitution. Everything else I left blank. I stopped voting for politicians. The initiatives is all the initiatives is all I care about. 3, contact Louis Rosman, who is disenchanted with the butchering of his Fair Repair Act bill. Let him know about this. This can help him. We can get him on board. 4.
All right, I'll bug him. He's a friend of mine.
4. Also, Larry, the independent vote. Yes, this is why I tell the Black community under 50 to register independent so Black people can finally have leverage in both parties. I've been saying this for a while. Automatic voter registration makes this easier. Number 5, abolish all political parties. It gets rid of division and it leads to a more informed electorate, because when you don't have the alphabet letter next to the name, now you have to do research on the candidate. And those are my 5 points.
Let me touch as many of them as I can. First off, Unite had an opportunity to support me last year, and they chose not to. That was a horrible mistake. I would have gotten them a ballot line, and we'd have pushed this. Absolutely. So if you know people in Unite, tell them to not make that error again. Tell them that I am the guy they should be supporting, because they also care about electoral reform. So that's important. Unite should be supporting. If you listen to me, Unite, don't make that mistake again. I'm your guy. Be smart. Second piece, other piece you brought up, Lou Rossman. Yes, good guy. Know him. He moved to Florida. I think Florida. Yeah, I think he moved to Florida. And so I'll be chatting with him about that. The idea of Black voters being independent. Oh my God, I cannot stress that. Black Americans are moving, though. That's a good thing. They're moving. They are moving away from being blindly Democrats. I'm not against Black people being Democrats. I'm against Black people being blindly Democrat. That is a terrible idea. This goes exactly what I was talking about. Not thinking to vote, just voting that I always do this, so I vote this way. So Roger, 100%. And if you're listening to me and you're Black, please don't blindly vote Democrat. In fact, I like Roger's idea. Register as independent. And then vote for who you want to when that day comes. That's what I do. So and Roger does it too, clearly. So we are not just talking the talk, we are walking the walk. If you are a Black person in New York State, please follow us. He is correct. The last thing about getting rid of political parties, I have a nuance on this. I think we should get rid of political parties on the ballot. But I think you have to have political parties if people want to get together and talk and come up with ideas they agree with, that kind of thing. But I think on the ballot should just be a name. Why is the party to be on the ballot? It's just a name. So if you are part of a political party, that party would send you an email or send you a text or whatever and say, hey, our person for this race is this. If you support us, please vote for this person. You'll have to know who this person is. To your point, Roger, research them or research the party or something, and then decide who is who. And you might say, I don't know any of them. I'm not voting for any of them. I'm just going to write somebody else in. I would say get rid of political parties on the ballot, but still allow people to form and join as they see fit. Do you think I'm wrong on that?
I don't know. I have to research that more. But did you say the Unite people, you there was a problem that you had with them?
Yes. Last year, they were supposed to support me, and they didn't. If they would have supported me, I would have got on the ballot with them, and everything would have been pushed forward, including electoral reform, everything. They decided to not do that. That was their error.
Oh, this is the first time I'm hearing about them.
I know they don't want to tell people about that because they screwed up. It was a big error they made. I was their savior last year. I told them, and they didn't want to do it.
Wow. Well, they're the only people I know besides you, but the only organization I know that's pushing.
That's why they should have done it. I supported everything they supported, but they were too busy trying to get Lee Zeldin to be their buddy because they thought, same thing. They thought the same thing with Molinaro in 2018, and the same. They always think Republicans are their answer, and they're not. Independent is the right answer. Hopefully, they will figure that out. I hope they will this time. If you know people there, please tell them. I am upset with them, but to your point, they are the only ones pushing this. So I support it, but they need to change their mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think they need more people power in their organization and so they could get some grass support. You know what I mean? Like, so
they could have a guy like me talking on the radio every week if they were thinking, couldn't they?
I know.
They could, but they're not doing it. In any case, thank you so much for the call, Roger. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
So, yes. If you guys have heard me speak, I speak often about supporting any and all third parties. Clearly, I am biased. Clearly, I want libertarians to win and run the state. That'd be amazing. Obviously, that's what I want. But, and there's a massive but here. If I can't get any third parties in, it doesn't matter. I would take any third party to move forward, to get this going, to start making things better. And then I believe that my ideas will come to the top, and I think that we'll be able to change things. That is my hope, is what I believe. And I think we have to do that. So I'm for all the third parties to move forward. Obviously, I want mine, but I'll take whatever. I support forward. Support them all. No worries whatsoever. All good. So Valerie says, Larry Sharpe is a valid candidate for office. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. So Dave says, your caller that said get rid of parties, I have bad news for him. The Nebraska unicameral doesn't have parties listed on the ballot, but political parties do endorse candidates regardless. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Mike goes on to say, I like the idea of no party affiliation or lines on the ballot. It's a soft form of manipulation. It's a soft add or subliminal trigger in voting. Agreed. I like that piece, right? I do. Austin's on board with you too, Roger. You're getting some people to be on board with you. So yes, I think if you did that, you still let people do what they want, gather, but the ballot is neutral, right? The ballot itself is neutral. It's just names. You got to pick how you want to pick. I love that idea. Yeah, some good stuff today, guys. I say thank you very much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.